I wasn't ready for my time here to come to an end so soon.
Congresswoman Katie Hill resigning in the face of an investigation stemming from allegations she had an inappropriate sexual relationship with one of her congressional staffers. Hill denies that, but admits to a relationship with a member of her campaign, calling it inappropriate but consensual.
To every little girl who looked up to me, I hope that one day you can forgive me.
Conservative outlets and tabloids publishing nude pictures of Hill and the campaign staffer online.
The dirtiest gutter politics that I've ever seen.
She blames political operatives and her estranged husband for the leak.
I'm leaving because of a misogynistic culture that gleefully consumed my naked pictures, capitalized on my sexuality, and enabled my abusive ex to continue that abuse, this time with the entire country watching.
Her ex-husband's attorney did not respond to NBC's request for comment. Hill says the nude photos sparked thousands of threatening emails, calls, and texts.
Today is the first time I've left my apartment since the photos, taken without my consent, were released, and I'm scared.
Scared and angry about what she sees as a double standard.
I'm leaving, but we have men who have been credibly accused of intentional acts of sexual violence and remain in boardrooms, on the Supreme Court, in this very body, and worst of all, in the Oval Office.
Hill today casting her final vote in Congress.
There is only one investigation that deserves the attention of this country, and that's the one that we voted on today. As my final act, I voted to move forward with the impeachment of Donald Trump on behalf of the women of the United States of America. We will not stand down. We will not be broken. We will not be silenced.
Jeff Bennett, NBC News, the Capitol.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.